Like and subscribe on the way in the door, people. Today, I want to talk about something that keeps coming up. Most of the time, it's fanboys saying this kind of stuff. But this notion that the second three-peat Bulls team was a super team. I don't think so. I think people are getting confused with a team filled with good role players versus a team full of all-stars. Just because you construct a team that has players well suited to their job, that does not make it a super team. Dennis Rodman is a two-time all-star. And he wasn't an all-star during any of the time he played with Chicago Bulls. Ron Harper, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe Ron Harper was ever an all-star. So yeah, to me, this is the kind of thing that happens when you're too good at your job. When you're too good at your job, people want to find a reason to diminish that. You know, and when you're good at your job, you know, when you're a good leader, the role players tend to get more shine than they normally would have. You know, when you're a good leader and your team is winning, the role players' level of skill become inflated. But what it really is everyone has bought into their role on the team. Again, this is why I say modern teams could not compete with teams of the early 2000s, 90s, 80s. Because everything is very me-centric nowadays. You know, the team concept and buying into roles is no longer. Yeah, so, yeah, someone in my comments said something about, the Bulls had Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Ron Harper, and Luke Longley. They actually bought up Luke Longley. Again, this is what I'm talking about. When you're too good at your job, everybody gets shine. When you're a good leader and everybody buys into the role on the team, then everyone's skill level becomes inflated because you're great together as a team. And it's not throwing any shade at Luke Longley, but Luke Longley was not that guy like that to be mentioning as a factor to say the second three-peat team was a super team. Like, Luke Longley was a role player who bought into his role. And, you know, for those of you who don't know, go watch The Last Dance documentary, but also watch, it's a documentary on Luke Longley that came out after The Last Dance because because he kind of got left out of that, the documentary. So Luke has his own documentary, but go watch that. And he talks about how Jordan pushed him because he was soft when he got to the team. He was nice. You know, he even talks about, and I'm paraphrasing, he even talks about how he kind of had to become something that he wasn't in order to perform on that team. And this is what I'm talking about, people. This is a leader holding everybody accountable to a standard of winning. And now all of a sudden it's a super team. You know, I feel like if it's a super team, which you guys have said the same thing, if Ron Harper and Dennis Rodman went to the Portland Trail Blazers, would you have called that a super team? Do you call the Detroit Pistons a super team who had Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, who's a fantastic defender, and Dennis Rodman? Is that a super team? So how is it that when they join the Bulls is now a super team? I'll tell you why it's seen as a super team, because Michael Jordan elevated everything. That's why you guys want to call it a super team, but it's not a super team. The only all-stars on that team were Jordan and Pippen. Now, on the other hand, if you want to talk about the real super team, when LeBron James abandoned his home to go ring chase, that Miami Heat team not only had an already champion on there, but I mean, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh were all on the All-Star team. That's a super team. D Wade had already led a team to a championship. That is a super team. And again, just because you have players that buy into their role, to me, I don't consider that a super team. See, here's the thing about team success in general. To me, when you have great success as a team, when you have players who buy into the team concept wholeheartedly to make a successful team, everybody gets elevated. And, because at the end of the day, the success is what defines you. Like the Boston Celtics. Like, that was a great team. 5 Hall of Famers on there. But, if you're just breaking it down player by player, besides Larry Bird, I mean, how many of them players do you have in your top 10, 20, maybe even top 30? To me, that team was the team it was because everybody brought into their roles as a team. Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Danny Ainge, Dennis Johnson. Those players bought in to the system, had success, made a great team together. So, yeah, I think people are confusing having a great team with having a super team. A super team is based on the level of talent that you group together. A great team doesn't necessarily have to be the best talent. It's just players who buy into what their job is on the team and who hold each other accountable to do that job to the very best of their ability. And that's what you had on Chicago. Dennis Rodman was a rebounder. Of course, he's one of the greatest rebounders to ever live, but he was a rebounder in defense. He wasn't a scorer. Ron Harper, and don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not, Ron Harper was no slouch. But again, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Ron Harper was ever an all-star. Like, he was someone who could get you some buckets and play good defense. But on Chicago, he averaged, I think, about 8 or 9 points a game or something like that. So this Chicago was not a super team. Chicago was a team who bought into the system. And when you do that, everybody looks better. Chicago was a team led by the greatest player to ever play the game, led by a player who was going to hold everyone accountable to do their jobs, and now everyone looks elevated because of it. This is what happens when you win. Because if Chicago didn't have those 6 championships, no one would ever dare say, "Oh, this was a super team because Luke Longley was on it." His name would not come up. If Chicago didn't have that 6-0 record, no one would dare say this was a super team because Ron Harper and Rodman got added to the roster. And Tony Kukoc, obviously a great 6-man off the bench. Anybody would want him. But again, he served a specific role. And I think this is what people are missing nowadays. Like, they're conflating having a great team who buys into the system with a team packed with top-level talent. It's a difference. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because someone actually said that in my comments. Someone said, let's not act like the second three-peat wasn't a super team because they had Jordan, Pippen, Ron Harper, Rodman, and Luke Longley. Again, was the Detroit Pistons a super team? Because if you're saying the Detroit Pistons was a super team, then I don't want to hear nothing about Jordan losing to him. I don't want to hear nothing about that. So which is it? Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys agree with this commenter that the second three-peat Chicago Bulls was a super team? Or do you think that they were a great team because everyone bought into their roles? And that's different than a super team. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a fantastic day. And I just want to thank all my subscribers and viewers and commenters again for supporting this channel. Again, you know, you guys are truly appreciated. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see you next time. All right.